Paula Groves, co-founder of Impact X. Thank you so much for coming on Bloomberg Equality. I'd like to just start off by asking you why now is the time to set up an organisation like Impact X?
Certainly. Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk about Impact X. This was an idea that was born out of the fact that less than 1% of venture capital dollars are invested in Black and underrepresented entrepreneurs. So a group of people who've been quite successful business leaders in London decided to set up Impact X and put their money where their mouth is. So the head of Impact X, the chair of our board, is Rick Lewis, who runs the largest Black-owned business in London. He and a group of his compatriots, including Ursula Burns, who is the first Black African-American CEO of a Fortune 500 company, and 20 other founding members, decided to invest in and set up Impact X so that we could serve underrepresented entrepreneurs throughout Europe.
Well, this has been a problem that we've seen for years.
Yes.
You've been in the industry a long time, so
Yes.
why now?
Because, you know, I have been trained to say and learn that if you want to be successful investing, you have to discover the undiscovered. You have to find the hidden gems. You have to go where the money hasn't been invested yet. And because there are so many Black entrepreneurs out there that haven't received funding, we believe this is the way to make outside returns for our investors.
Well, it makes business sense. I mean, we know what the data says. Founding teams with women on them, so if we focus on the female element of this, outperform all male teams, but we're still struggling to get women. And then from the investment side, recent research from a company called Atomico shows that investment in companies founded by women actually decreased in 2019 versus the previous year. So what is the roadblock here?
You know, that's a very interesting question. I've actually been investing in women and minority-led businesses since 1999, and the numbers haven't changed. And so I'm asking myself that question. We are actually commissioning a study that's going to be led by Stanford University in collaboration with London Business School to actually try to answer that question. We have some theories about whether or not there's unconscious bias at play, that people don't really know that they're not choosing Black entrepreneurs. But we actually want to do a scientific study to see if we can uncover what actually is the problem, and then from there create some interventions and some solutions.
Now, Impact X is putting $100 million on the table. $100 million or pounds?
Pounds.
£100 million on the table.
Yes.
In terms of investment, VC investment, that's a relatively small number. Sounds huge, but is relatively small when we think about the really big VCs.
Yes.
How can you lead the charge within those bigger VCs and lead by example?
Absolutely. I think the first way is to really, performance. VC industry and investing is about excellence and success. So if we, find some hidden gems and demonstrate our ability to make outside returns, I believe the money's going to follow, and they're going to want to participate in our swimming pool as well.
Of course, of course. We know that the issue is not just a European one. Senator Elizabeth Warren has made tackling inequality a big part of her presidential bid. And when she was doing that, she referred to the fact that the typical African-American entrepreneur starts a business with just $35,000, whereas a male white entrepreneur will start that with around 3 times that level of capital. So this is a global problem, right? And how can we learn from the US example?
Absolutely. I think that to the extent that policymakers and government organizations can get involved to help solve this problem, it's going to make a world of difference. One of the more recent projects that I worked on was working with the city of Oakland, who decided to set up a loan fund to provide funding to the most marginalized entrepreneurs in the city of Oakland. We're talking about individuals that were previously incarcerated, individuals that didn't have any work history, didn't have any credit history, but the city believed that a rising tide lifts all boats, and so they decided to deploy tax dollars to actually help those types of entrepreneurs. And that's so inspiring from people from those communities.
Now, we know that the big success stories out of Silicon Valley, often those people who have invested in those companies come from a network. They're friends of friends. So how are you going to get the word out that Impact X is open for business, is open for funding, and actually broaden that network from the start?
Well, first of all, I have to thank you here at Bloomberg, because just the fact that you are covering this story and there are people out there watching this story is going to help get the word out. We're trying to find the girl geek in Bristol who has the next way to change society, and we want to give her an investment. Also, our founding members, of which there are approximately 20, are the captains of industries, and they come from those types of networks that you've already referenced and mentioned, and they are going to help us find entrepreneurs as well, and not just help us find entrepreneurs, but they're willing to roll up their sleeves to help these new businesses be successful, and that's also going to, help us be successful and generate outsized returns for our investors.